Hey folks, it's David back again with another video. Hope you're all doing well. It's been a long, good while since I put up an actual video on this channel. But I just saw this film, Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs Shaw, and I thought, hey, before I let too much time pass and start forgetting about the movie, or too much of it to really say anything, let me go ahead and make this video now. I'm here at my job, delivering about 47,000 pounds of resin to a sawmill in Beaumont, Mississippi, and I thought, I got an hour to play with, let me go ahead and get my thoughts on this movie. So here we go. I saw the original Fast and Furious all those years ago, but I never stayed faithful with all the sequels after that. It doesn't seem like it's not quite the same seriousness of the characters and I dare say subject matter as when Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, may he rest in peace, made those movies. But this one, because it's different, because it has none of the original characters. Jason Statham and The Rock, they've been in past, technically they've been in past Fast and Furious sequels, but there was just something about this movie. And again, I know it has to do with the fact that I haven't watched all of the series, but there was a cutesy-poo, winking at the audience, a lot of comedic effect stuff in this film that just, it made it kind of disconcerting for an action film that was, again, numerous times in the movie, The Rock saying, and by the way, this is the 4th time I'm saving the world because I'm just that good at it. Stuff like that. Literally, the film opens with a split-screen side-by-side of how Jason Statham wakes up in the morning as his character, how The Rock wakes up in the morning as his character, what one eats for breakfast, what the other one eats for breakfast, the cars they drive, how different they are, their styles of getting it done, and all this stuff. And it was entertaining. The movie was entertaining as all get out, and yet there was a lot of audience winking. I mean, seriously, the relationship of The Rock with his daughter there, and the raising of the eyebrow thing, that was a bridge too far in their little telephone chat they had at one part of the movie. He's entertaining, and the chemistry and the back and forth that he has with Jason Statham, his character, is just... Hobbs Shaw was entertaining. But it's one of those films that, again, I'm not going for serious messaging. Really, I guess I can't complain in as much as I was entertained, and yet I leave the theater these days, or any movie experience, whether I go to the theater or not, thinking, okay, what did I take from this movie? What am I going to be able to... Is there anything that I can take from it as far as a moral lesson? And there in this movie, does it pass or does it fail? Because that's what I'm asking. That's what I want to ask you in this brief review / rant / random thoughts video that I'm making here. Does it pass or fail that test? Idris Elba's character is the villain, right? And he is just this over-the-top, humanity is old and outdated, it's time to evolve and basically become one with machines. There's this big futurist bent to the movie as far as the villain's philosophy and that their hidden, secretive organization and their industrial espionage, and they're taking this serum or whatever this thing was at the beginning that Vanessa Kirby, if I got her name right, who plays Jason Statham's sister, like long-lost sister in the film, injects herself with at the beginning to keep Idris Elba's murderous team of industrial espionage thieves or whatever, these terrorists, from stealing. And she's framed for like betraying her special forces team and killing all of them, even though it was actually Idris Elba. I guess I better put spoilers in the I guess I better put spoilers in the title of this video since I just gave that away. Anyways, let me go ahead and talk about the rest of it. Just leave it at that. Spoilers, just so you know. Give away a few crucial details here. I hope you can hear me over this fan because I'll be sweating bullets in this truck if I turn the fan off. But I'm afraid to actually turn the truck on in here because I don't want even more heat added to this big room that we're in here that these guys already have to deal with. Anyways, let me get back to it. Vanessa Kirby's character, this is a complaint right here, and it's a convenient movie-making deal. She doesn't really seem like her character is the sister of Jason Statham in this movie. They have this back and forth bickering, which, they're obviously brother and sister sibling from way back when. Yeah, you get that toward the end, but in the meantime, it's like they're not brother and sister at all, it seems like. No history. You finally get a little bit of that family bond, little chemistry at the end as far as the characters' interactions, but in the meantime, for most of the movie, it's this convenient, they haven't seen each other in all these years. They've been estranged, and she's thought the worst of him, thinking he was a traitor and all that. And again, that's a big gripe that I have about how it all came across for about 45% of the movie, watching it all unfold on the screen, because again, it's my fault for not seeing the prior movies. I doubt she was mentioned before now, though, because The Rock's character didn't know that she was Jason Statham's character, his sister. And so, finally at the end, you get like some heartwarming, I shouldn't have thought the worst of you. I shouldn't have thought you a traitor, even though you're spying, all this stuff. And there's like maybe a blooming romance or whatever between her and The Rock. The other thing is, she's like 30 years old, Vanessa Kirby. And I remember her from Mission Impossible, Fallout, which I enjoyed watching at the movies. And that's all I've seen her in. She's like 30, but if Jason Statham, obviously, and The Rock, they're better than 40. They're between like 40 and 50 or more now. I don't know how old Jason Statham is. And so but their siblings, when they're kids, they're like maybe 2 or 3 years age difference. So they've got her trying to portray this like older woman than she is. I don't know if anybody really thought about that as far as people watching the movie, but it's just something I couldn't help but ignore. It's like, she's not that old, but these guys are almost middle-aged. And yet, they're supposed to be basically, they're little kids together in these flashback scenes. Anyways, like I said, entertaining as all get out, the film. A lot of profanity, and I should have looked it up. Me and my mother and my sister, we watched this movie, and we're not worried about the R rating as far as getting into the movies, obviously. But it really bothers me that if it is PG-13, there was a lot of profanity in this movie, and a lot of GD, the F-bomb, and just stuff that's what I have a complaint about. And also the divorce is okay, and divorce is actually good, and you can move on and maybe have a fling with some young woman vibe that I picked up from this movie that I didn't like, as far as The Rock's character, and the same kind of thing with the last Jason Statham movie I saw, The Meg. That was another, when you watch that movie, you see, okay, well, he's rescuing his ex-wife, he must love her. No, we don't get anything like in The Abyss, where there's going to be a reconciliation and a heartwarming love story. No, it's just, you can move on, you can find somebody new. I don't like that junk. I don't like it at all. But let me end on this. Ryan Reynolds' character, one more thing. Ryan Reynolds' character, and this is part of the cutesy poo, winking at the audience, let's be really funny and hilarious, and let's get some really big names like Idris Elba, The Rock, Jason Statham, Ryan Reynolds up in here. I didn't realize Roman Reigns was in it until I saw this, until I checked Google a little while ago, and I'm like, Roman Reigns, isn't he a wrestler? And then I recognized him from the movie. The ending sequence, when they're on Samoa, I love that. Let's go old school and bust a noggin with some bats since we don't have any guns. That was that was pretty crazy. And they finally have an actual Fast and the Furious crazy car sequence that involves some impossible junk. physics-defying stuff at the end that you're just waiting on in your Fast and Furious movie. But man, Ryan Reynolds was annoying. Why does he have to be? He's not Deadpool in this movie, which I don't watch Deadpool anyways. But why did they have him acting like that? Was he really in a prior movie? I have to look it up again. I got to watch the prior series to really know what's going on. But I could have swore in the trailers it's like Jason Statham was going to be the villain in that last film. So again, part of this is on me for being out of sequence with the movies that I've seen as far as Fast and Furious. But there was a seriousness to some of those movies that I remember watching. That in this movie, it's definitely an action comedy with emphasis on the comedy. The ending, the finale of the movie, the third act, I thought it was good. And I'll end on this. Idris Elba's character, he is over the top, fully committed to his crazy philosophy the whole movie. And so it's actually so over the top that it's kind of hard to see where he's coming from. You just have to take him at face value. The Rock basically says, so we're basically being chased by the Terminator right now because Idris Elba's got these, what did he call them? Not improvements, not advancements, upgrades. You get your upgrades. You're going to have metal parts and be a bionic man put together like he is. Be super strong, super fast, and be hooked into the internet and everything else in your brain. It's kind of creepy, but there's this point. I wasn't thinking about it so much, but my mom, as we're driving home, she said, "You know, it's something that he thought of human beings like that. He didn't really respect human life anymore. He didn't love people." When he has this scene in the movie where he's torturing the scientist, or not so much torturing him, but threatening to torture him for information on where they've gone, our trio, Jason Statham, Hobbs Shaw, and his sister, and he says, "How much is a man worth?" Like, and he actually naming, like, he comes up and he like does this tally, like so much magnesium, so much this and that iron you might be able to get out of him, blah blah blah. He named like 2 or 3 chemicals, minerals, physical things. Maybe $2.50. Not really, not a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. I'm getting the amount of money wrong, but you get the idea. He doesn't view people as people anymore. And you want to think, well, maybe that's because he's so machine now. But no, it's this philosophy that he's imbibed. And that's what my mom reminded me of as we're talking about it on the ride home. He didn't respect human life, and the way that he dies at the end. Oh, one more thing. I like the ending of this film. Again, spoilers. This thing that Hobbs and Shaw do at the end in order to beat Idris Elba's character is like they can't take him. He's too fast. He is like Black Superman, as they say in the movie. He's too fast. He knows all this fighting. He's just throwing them around like rag dolls, both of them, for the past half hour of the movie. And so they look at each other, and I think it's Jason Statham's character says, "Listen, I'll take a..." Or is it The Rock? I can't remember. One of them says to the other one, "I'll take a punch and let you land one to take him out." And the other guy looks at him and says, "I'll do the same." And so then they beat down Idris Elba by letting one of them get like, slow motion stuff and get kicked so that the other one can get a good lick on Idris Elba. And so that's how they beat him down. And it's not them that actually ends him at the end, kills the bad guy. It is the super mysterioso boss, the lead baddie, who you never see in the movie, and yet they make you think, oh great, we're going to have a sequel to this and finally find out this man behind the curtain stuff. I guess it's done well enough. But there's this thing Idris Elba does when he's about to die, because he can literally like see it across his eyes, because he's seeing things like the mainframe or whatever of, you know, like in the Terminator or all these cyborg movies, you can see what the robot's seeing, and like there's this readout and all these graphics are like Iron Man. He can actually like see they're pulling the plug on it, literally. And there they are in the rain, and there's Idris Elba all like, so it's like that, is it? Right before he dies, and he falls into the ocean. And it's when he says that's what I was thinking about from what my mom said, as far as if you can take anything at all away from this movie, as far as some kind of moral amidst all of the cutesy-poo action comedy stuff. The Rock says you can have all the technology in the world, but we've got heart. And there's all these cut scenes of the bad guys being whooped by all the Samoan guys, actually fighting them with their fists, with their heads, with their clubs, with their wooden axes and all this stuff. Really good ending fight scenes. I just wish it weren't so much shaky cam. Pull back and actually do with a still camera and actually show some of this stuff instead of all this chaotic stuff, because they spend so much money on these movies, and I hate that because you can't see what's going on a lot of the time. Another minor gripe, because all these movies are doing that, and I hate it. But as far as the moral, it's like Idris Elba's character had totally disconnected himself from humanity, saying it's time to evolve. Only the weak will be killed. The rest of us will ascend to the next level and all this stuff. When he says that, when he says, so it's like that, is it? It's like, yeah. His boss is just cold-bloodedly, like, clicking a execute button and is going to let Idris Elba die. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, that's what you embraced. It's like that, is it? Because he didn't care about people. And he's part of an organization that doesn't care about people. It's all power. It's all evolving to the next step, Darwinian stuff. Anyways, that's my brief review, my thoughts on the movie in about 15 minutes. This trailer is going to be fully unloaded, and I'm going to be out of here. Anyway, thanks for listening to me, people. Maybe I'll do another such video if I see another film sometime soon. I'd like to make more videos just about past movies and catch up on a lot of stuff. But anyways, this is 17 minutes long. That's way too long. Thanks for listening to me, folks. We'll see you